Happy Friday, LinkedIn, and welcome to Data Center News Asia. I'm joined by James Murphy.
Thank you very much. That's always been a dream of mine. Firstly, to come on the weekly roundup and be called James.
Yeah, well, actually, the real James is apparently prioritizing the growth of his family over the growth of the data center industry. I'm disappointed. Will, you've flown in from the UK to besmirch him, I guess?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing for a week. It's been a good week.
But it also is you're here representing DC Bytes, so I will be relying on you for all the market intel that I usually get from James.
So I'm going to apologise in advance to everybody who tunes in each week. I don't think it's going to be at the same quality you expected.
Well, luckily we haven't got too many big stories. I think all the marketing and the press release folks have actually been here. We are, behind us is Tapa Bar. This is the epicenter of PTC, where apparently a large amount of the world's telecom decisions get made. And we have a couple of stories to come at you with this week. I think the first one is going to be AirTrunk's big announcement in Malaysia.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some exciting news there.
Normally I hand this over to James for some information on the site, but Will, do you know where Johor Baru is? Because it's a long way from Europe.
Yeah, no, I think I've flown close to it. It's it always looks very nice in the pictures and...
So AirTrunk have announced a monster campus. 150 megawatts is the initial plan. The first actual data center is supposed to be 50 megawatts by 2024. Typical AirTrunk is going to be quite aggressive construction timelines, and let's see if they meet them as they have in the more developed markets. And this is the same area of Johor as we've got the YTL GDS sites, the Yonder site, which is also a massive site, and the new Equinix IBX thing, which is much smaller.
I think one of the really interesting things we're seeing, and it's being mirrored in Europe, LATAM, and Africa, quite a lot of the new emerging markets, is these huge mega campuses coming into markets that traditionally haven't had huge campuses, which it's a big change before, as opposed to when people announce smaller facilities and then look to grow after. It's going in quite big in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Johor Baru itself, I think most people would probably agree, is who have been to Singapore in the area. It's just a town over the border, or an area over the border. It's not going to support that amount of capacity. But Singapore as a market with various power and political constraints and space constraints, frankly. So this is part of that spillover. And it's interesting you're seeing the same in Europe outside the main hubs.
We absolutely are. We're seeing markets that or locations in countries, even. Take my home market, the UK, places traditionally you wouldn't look at, because outside the normal AZs announce mega campuses. Even somebody recently announcing a 600 megawatt site completely the other side of London that you'd expect.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, good luck to AirTrunk. This will actually bring AirTrunk's capacity in the region up, once everything is completed, to 1.35 gigawatts, which is a pretty monstrous portfolio to have built up in a short few years. I think a lot of people look at them as one of the leaders in this wave, but certainly not the last. And there are many other players coming in with I don't want to say similar strategy. I'm going to get in trouble here from the marketing sites for trying to unify these guys. Yeah. But there's a lot of growth happening, I guess, is where I'm going. And even just in that Johor area, there's some exciting developments.
It's certainly not showing any signs of slowing down.
Well, speaking of not slowing down, the other one that I thought was really interesting this week, CtrlS.
Yes.
Always been known as a really strong local player in India, one of the biggest, you said they're privately owned players in the market.
It is, but James may correct us after on that one, but I believe...
He normally corrects me on air, actually. It's quite awkward, because I say something and he just cuts it down straight away. I'm glad that you're not
so this is actually quite nice for you then.
This is a pleasant change.
Yeah.
But yeah, so CtrlS, phenomenal player in India. They have a 600 megawatt pipeline of sites they're building. They've certainly got strong local knowledge and backing to be able to execute on that. And they have announced that they're going to triple the size of their platform in the next, I think it's 2025 or 2030, but in the next few years, they're going to triple the size of the platform, including developments in the Middle East. I think they listed Riyadh in the UAE, as well as Southeast Asia. There was Malaysia, Thailand, and another country on the press release. But normally we're not in Hawaii. I have notes here.
And this week we're relying on James again?
No, I do have notes normally, but yeah, James is kind of encyclopedic with his knowledge. I'm not disappointed that he's not here. I'm just,
I'm definitly making you.
You're
look
a
good.
decent replacement, Will. You're a decent replacement.
I think one of the really interesting things about this is we've seen a lot of investments into India. Seen a lot of joint ventures with local partners, but we haven't seen, off the top of my head, I can't think of seeing any Indian-based data center operators expanding outside of India. They've tended to concentrate on their own market, and this is a big step change.
No, I think you're right. I think this is. I mean, certainly there are, as you say, joint ventures with Indian companies, and certainly India is a country that supplies a lot of different technologies and expertise. But as an India-owned and backed operator, it will be interesting to see, because so we've certainly seen a proliferation of companies coming out of Singapore, US companies, European companies, and Chinese companies, and Australian, of course. We just mentioned one.
Yes.
But this will be the first export into the region. They're pretty. I mean, there's a couple of big hires that they've made. I don't know if we actually mentioned on the show, but congratulations to Rhys, who was recently brought on as the Chief Business Officer ex Equinix. So they're certainly making a statement of intent, and we'll see where it goes, I guess.
I think it's fascinating. I was over in Mumbai last year, and the growth in the market is I can't think of another market I'm seeing quite the same level of growth in as you're seeing there. It's fascinating.
Yeah, there's certainly no shortage of volume in India, either on the demand or upcoming supply. There were a couple of other news stories that I saw. Oh, sorry, you were about to add more.
Equally, the Middle East as well, another market is seeing a lot of that they're entering. We're seeing a lot of growth as well.
Yeah. Well, there's actually got a few companies that I've been meeting this week who are, again, coming from some of those geographies that I've mentioned, and the Middle East is a huge priority market. It's similar challenges to we see in APAC, and I guess you would see in developing parts of EMEA. There's things around expertise, supply chain, development processes, all these kind of challenges, but a lot of excitement around the potential capacity for the region.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we will be attending the event, the Capacity Media event in March. So we're looking forward to meeting anybody who's interested in that market as well.
Oh, fantastic! Is James going to be going, or has he got another excuse?
I don't think James will be going, but he may change his mind after watching this.
His commitment to the industry is disappointing.
It seems to be reducing. I agree.
No, but congratulations on the second baby, James. I hope that
congratulations.
goes smoothly. Yeah. But no, I think we're going to probably wrap that up there, because otherwise we're scraping the barrel for news stories.
I mean, unless you want to go to Europe, I won't probably add much more.
This is Data Center News Asia. I've already stretched it by doing a series of interviews this week in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So those will be cross-Pacific interviews, and you'll see those coming up on the feed soon.
And I realised I already mucked up at the beginning for saying I wanted to come on the weekly roundup. So
it's fun. People know and love the weekly roundup, but they will get used to Data Center News Asia,
including me.
Well, as much as we're recording this on a Hawaiian Wednesday, it's almost Asian Friday. So happy Friday, LinkedIn, and thanks for joining me, Will.
Thank you very much for the invite.